Okay, so today I'm going to go over the answers to activity 3, which is what you completed yesterday. Make sure you have a pencil and your paper flipped to this page. I'm going to start with number 1. Just to review, the directions were to put your answer um, that fits best in the blank, the vocabulary word, in the first box, and in the second box, you have to explain your thinking, why you chose that word. So if you just put the answer in and didn't explain your thinking, you only did half of the assignment. So make sure that you take the time right now to put both answers for each question. For number 1, I'm not going to read the sentence. I'm just going to give you the answer. The answer is reputation. Let me zoom in just a little bit here. Check your spelling. It's Reputation. And I put the mother thinks rides are dangerous, and reputation means the way people think about things. So this is what she thinks about the fair rides. So that's the reputation um, of the rides there in that sentence. Remember, we're using our context clues to help us determine what the word is and then to help us explain why we think so. So we're using all these context clues to explain the reason as well. Number 2, the answer is reluctant, Reluctant. And Crystal was worried and not walking with her friends. Those are the context clues. And that helped me determine that reluctant is the answer because it means not excited to do something. Number 3, the answer is dignity, Dignity. And because Lee was caught cheating, I guess it's a he, yes, he lost his honor and respect. And that's what dignity means. So, caught cheating is our context clue. And that's how we were able to determine dignity is the answer, to lose honor and respect. Number 4, the answer is despair, Despair. Damon lost all his money and struggled, which would make him feel hopeless. So despair is the answer because it means to not feel any hope. So remember, the clues are he lost all his money and struggled, and that helped us determine that despair is the correct answer for number 4. Number 5, the answer is transform, Transform. So Janet changed over time from being mean to being kind to Malaya. So transform means to change completely. And when someone goes from being from being mean to being kind, that is a complete change because those are opposite ways to act. So transform is the correct answer there. Number 6. Now they have two blanks in the last two sentences. So you had to come up with another word based on the context of the sentence that would fit in the second blank as well. So check to make sure you have both answers. And this should be a lowercase t on trait. So the answer is the trait, Trait, that's the vocabulary word, that makes Cyril and Javon different is focus. And so if you read the sentence very carefully, it says, but Cyril is a much more focused student than Javon. So focus makes sense for the second blank. And the reasoning is Cyril is different from Javon because he has focus, and a trait is something that makes someone different from someone else or something else. So that's why trait is the best answer there. Make sure your reasoning is explained in the second box. And the last one, number 7, lowercase that b, get my capitalization correct there. Watching her brother can feel like a burden because it is a heavy responsibility. And that is the definition of burden. If you go back up to the front to your first activity, you'll find your definition right there. My reasoning is Poppy has a big responsibility to care for her brother. Um, After school, she has to make sure he does his homework and then he has dinner and then he doesn't play too many video games and he doesn't break anything. So that's a lot to take care of. So that is a big responsibility. And we know burden means a heavy, or in this case, a big responsibility. And that was my reasoning based on all of the context clues listed in those sentences. Want you to pause the video, reflect, make sure you have all of your answers for 1 through 7 for activity number 3. And when you're ready, I want you to move on to activity 4, which is matching. This will not take very long at all. It's just a quick review. You're going to match the word to its synonym, and there's 7 synonyms up in that top box. A synonym is a word that means the same. So if you're looking at burden, you're going to want to find a word that means the same as burden and type it in here. You don't have to explain your answers for this one. And then number 5, the last activity, is the application activity. And this is what it's all about. It's using the vocabulary words in your own language and writing. So what you're going to do here is you're going to write 1 to 2 complete sentences. Make sure you have capital letters at the beginning and punctuation marks at the end. And you have to use the word that's underlined in your answer, and you have to explain why. So you're going to have to write 1 to 2 sentences here. I did the first one for you as an example. The question is, what is one household chore that feels like a burden to you? Explain why. So the word is burden. I have to use that word in my answer. And if I forgot what it meant, I can go right back to activity 1 to find that meaning. It means something, a heavy load that you have to carry, or something big that you have to do, or that weighs heavily on you. Remember, if we go back up to that very first box in activity 1, there's that lady again carrying that heavy burden. So it can be a physical burden or emotional or a mental one. So for me, a household chore that is a heavy burden is, let me get back to my answer. One household chore that feels like a burden to me. Notice how I took the question and I used the question to start my answer. That way I know I'm going to be writing in a complete sentence and I'm specifically answering this question. So this is what I want you to do. Take the question and start your answer with it. One household chore that feels like a burden to me is keeping my floors clean. Okay, this is a heavy burden for me. My cat sheds so much hair and my floors are dark brown, so it's very easy to see. I'm going to add something to make this a complete sentence. It feels like a burden because my cat sheds. Easy. Yeah, because my cat sheds so much hair and my floors are dark brown. So it is very easy to see. I'm going to put a comma right there. We'll talk about why I'm putting that comma there later when we get into some quill comma practice. So notice I have 2 sentences. The first one answers the question and the second one explains why. Make sure you do that for all 7 of the questions for the application activity number 5. When you're done, I want you to turn your complete packet in, and you're going to get a full grade for this. This was a lot of work. This will count as a minor grade for all 5 activities together. Put it in the basket when you're finished, and then go to Google Classroom to find out what you need to do next.